Don't want to miss a Show Garage video? Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Now, after a lot of time, you would notice that I've been in track. People will ask me, why do I do track? All that and more, coming right up. You piece of shit. Just to let you guys know, this video is completely unscripted. I'm just going off of memory here, so if things sound a little weird, I have no script at all. And I know I'm playing NASCAR 15 footage in the background, because why not? So let's get on with the video. In 2021, I began high school, and I was a very weird kid.
Hello everyone, this is SMNG5, otherwise known as Super Mario NASCAR Gaming 5. No! And today instead of doing gaming...
So I changed up friend groups midway through early 2022. And I matured a lot since then. I also knew I kind of wanted to branch out and just enjoy sports, kind of be like everyone else. Prior to high school, I had no, experience with any sport. Obviously I'd done field day in my earlier days, but I wasn't good at it, and I had no athleticism at all. In early 2023, I was a sophomore, and I knew going into my junior year, I wanted to do sports during my junior year. I didn't know which ones though. I thought a good way to start out though would be with track, just to get me into shape. This was only going to be a 1-year thing. I wasn't going to return after this. I signed up, and yeah, let's just say all the practices leading up to the first track meet were very, very tough. I could barely run over 200, and that was not a good start. And then I found out when we got to the track meet that I was actually going to run the 400, and if you guys don't know, that's one lap. I was very, very nervous, to say the least, and I've never done any sport in front of a public audience before, so it was very, nerve-wracking. I didn't even have spikes at this point. I had these running shoes that were supposed to be softer. We hit the track for my first time. I was so nervous, but I launched out of my blocks really, really great. My teams were just there supporting me, and that was really special at the beginning. And I actually launched really well, and unfortunately I lost it at the end of the fourth turn. Headed down the final straight, I had hardly nothing left. I was in last, but I expected that. And I ended up running a 1:15, I think, which is a terrible 400. But I remember at the time, I didn't care. I was so gassed that it was I thought I was gonna die then and there, but my teammates were congratulating me for running for my first time. And that was it for my first meet. The rest of the meets, I continued to do 400s, and we'll get to that in a second. But about maybe three or four meets in, we went back to the same track. It was Wapello. They ended up actually putting me in the 200, and that was something I kind of asked them to see if I could do. And I didn't finish last, actually, and I ran a 35 maybe, which again is still terrible, but I still didn't finish last, so there's that. Just to let you know, every once in a while I would run 200s for the rest of the year. Not every meet, but some meets I would. In the meets I would, I only ran maybe up to 31 seconds, which is okay, but still really bad. Anyways, back to the 400s. We went to Tipton, which was our second track meet, and man, that sucked because they put me in lane 8. Which, if you didn't know, on an 8-lane track, that is the longest way around. So I finished dead last with a terrible time. I was not happy with it. And you'll keep hearing me talk about Tipton in a bad way many, many times going forward. But as meets went on, I kept getting faster. 111, 110, 109. And then we went to Anamosa. There's only 3 people in there. Up to this point, I had never finished better than last. Last was all I had ever gotten. And I knew I was faster than the other 2 kids that night. I was like, if I finish last, I will be very, very upset. And we took the start, and the rest was history. I went around that 3rd turn. I was so tired, but all my teammates were there cheering me on. And right then and there, I noticed the guy in 2nd was being slower. And I was like, what the heck? So I was like, I'm faster than him. I'm just going to pass him. And that's what I did. I was tripping coming to the line, just trying to finish 2nd. That was the hardest I ever ran. I remember a few of our girls came and congratulated me, which is something that never happens. I was so happy about that too. And that was one of the greatest races I've ever ran. And I shaved off 3 seconds, 1:06, which was amazing. The next week I did 1:05, and then the next week after that was Tipton again. That was our conference meet. I ran on 1:05, and I don't think I finished last, but I don't remember that one for facts, so I don't know. And then districts at Tipton. This one I was really upset about because, obviously it was my last meet. That's what decides to go to state. We went to Tipton. I was starting my race, and I had my good buddy. I won't mention any names just because, for their own privacy or whatever. He's probably the fastest, not the fastest guy, but he is the best hurdler on our team. I'm not even joking when I say that. He is the best on the team. I was in lane 1, which at Tipton, lane 1 is way before you even get into the turn. So I was already pissed that I got such a long way to go. But then, apparently, the starter said, on your mark. But me and the few guys in front of me did not hear it at all. So we were like, okay, I can't hear this. I told my buddy, I was like, I can't hear him. And so I was looking forward to see when we were gonna, set. But they don't say set until you're looking down. So I had to look down, and I'm not even in my set position. They fired the gun off. I was so mad. And then they fired the gun off twice. I thought I was going to get disqualified for it, but thankfully I didn't. They just reran it, and we were able to run the race. I didn't do well on the race, but my teammate ended up winning it, but I finished like 4th or something probably. But that's not it for that season. I wasn't there for practice on the day it happened because obviously, I didn't have to show up to practice. My season's basically over. I didn't qualify for nothing. And one of my coaches said he was planning on taking me anyways, but he asked the team who they think worked the hardest this year that deserves to go to state with them. And they kept saying, it's Kane, 100% Kane. He worked the hardest. I wish I could have been there to see that. That's really cool. But anyways, we went to state. We had a good time. Nobody made it to the finals, but we still had a lot of fun. And for a long time, that was it. Silence as far as track was concerned. Then I decided to do football at the beginning of my junior year, and I did not do well at all, so we're just going to skip over that and head straight to the winter. Well, during the winter, not much really happened. I was just really out of shape. We did some conditioning stuff over the weekends just before track season began, However, it was just like plyometric stuff. And then the season finally came. We were out of shape, to say the least, especially me. I was really like surprised with how out of shape I was. However, looking back at it now, I didn't work at all during the winter time, and that's going to change this winter. But you know, if you don't practice, you're not going to remain the same position, you know? But anyways, we started off this season with a lot of cancellations actually, but we were in an indoor track and I ran a 107, which was really disappointing. And my teammate and one of my best friends currently as of right now in school, he was in our 400s all the time. And we started this little friendly rivalry all year. Like, oh, I'm going to beat you, and oh, I'm going to beat you, you know, just get the times in. But he would always usually beat me. He was like averaging 103, I think. And I averaged like 105, and he usually beats me. But I didn't know at the time he ran a 103. So we were at this indoor track, and a 400 there is 2 laps. I remember I fired off for the lead. I was so fast. And then the other guy, he took the lead. But he also cheated. So he took the lead from me, and then he cut down to the first lane. Well, we still had another 2 turns before we were supposed to start merging lanes. Which, obviously, usually you don't change lanes when you're in the 400. Not in the 400 dash anyways. Usually during distance med you would. I was a little bit upset, and I was just trying to get a good time, maybe try and chase back after him. I couldn't do it, but then all of a sudden my teammate goes flying by me. I'm like, wow, he is fast. He's actually fast. Which surprised me, and I finished 3rd. And, you know, that was alright, I guess. That was our first meet, and then we went to a few more. I was very slow at Cascade, but I still didn't finish last. Keep in mind, I did not finish last until the final meet, and I'll get to that in a little bit. We finally went to a track meet. I don't remember where. Oh yeah, it was Durant. It was just me and my friend, both from the same school. We were the only ones in our heat. I said I had to win this one. I've never won a meet prior to this point. I remember going down that final straightaway. My legs were giving out, and they're you know, cheering me on and telling me he's catching me. So I'm like just running as hard as I can. And then finally I crossed the line. I fall right to my knees. I mean, I was so tired. But I ran a 103 and finally won my first ever race. There was one meet, it was Tipton. Now, that whole day had been good because I actually found my prom date that day. And I asked her out. She actually said yes, which prom was fun, I will say that. But that's off topic. She was there too. I mean, she runs about the same race as I do. And it was at Tipton. I was trying so bad to beat my friend so many times, but finally I had a streak going where I beat him like maybe 3 or 4 times in a row, and we hit Anamosa again. One of my best tracks. I love Anamosa. I ran a 102 and still beat my friend. Man, that track, I have that track figured out, it seems like. And up to this point, after the second meet, I've been running 200 to every single meet, and I kept getting so much faster in that one too. I ended up getting down to maybe 27 seconds by the end of the year. And at Anamosa, I finished 2nd, and man, I was reeling the leader in as well. And then we hit conference. Man, I was fast at conference as well. I ran a 27 something in the 200. Still not a great finish. I didn't have a great finish. I didn't finish last though, obviously. And I didn't finish well in the 400 either. Not last, but not well. I finished like maybe 4th. And I ran a 101. Best PR all season. And unfortunately, my entire goal throughout the year was get under a minute, or a minute exactly. We hit Tipton. Obviously, I hate Tipton. That was for districts to qualify for state. So for this one, this meet, however, was different. They decided to put me in the distance med in replacement for one of my injured teammates as the 400 runner. And I'd never done handoffs prior to that night, and the handoffs were really good. And I fired really well in the 400. I was just in such pain for whatever reason. And I come off the final straight. I'm in last. It's not fun. Just so tired trying to get to my buddy and get the handoff. I put the stick in his hand, and I fall and I slide all the way across the grass. I hear people cringing at it too. It wasn't embarrassing, it was just like, holy shit, did I just do that? And then I ran the 200 and I finished last, my first last place finish of the year. Now I ran a 27 something. I was so mad when I crossed the line. That meet was the worst meet of the year, and it sucks that that was the final one as well. My friend ran the 400 like usual, and this almost brought tears to my eyes when he finished his race. Obviously, it was after the distance med. I held his blocks for him and I told him to go beat my time. Unfortunately, he didn't, but I mean, fortunate for me, unfortunate for him, however you want to see it. But what almost brought tears to my eyes was after that race, he walked up to me and shook my hand and stuff, and he was like, "It's been a fun year." That right there almost just made me cry. I mean, it was incredible. And unfortunately, I didn't get to go to state this year. Currently, my teammates are at state. I hope that they did really well, and I look forward to seeing what I can do senior year, my final year of track. So that was my journey through track so far. Back to my question, I guess I asked at the beginning, why do I like track so much? Why do I put myself through the pain and agony of running as hard as you can and just wearing yourself out? It helps build strength to me. It's because it feels good when, maybe not necessarily when you're running, but when you think about it, it just makes you feel good. And when you cross that line, that's all that matters. It's about beating your goals, and that's why I love it so much. The atmosphere of track meets with all my friends and stuff, it's so good. What started as a one-time thing turned into what is my best and favorite sport that I take a part in. And that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. Thank you all for listening if you made it this far. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. This was a new type of video. I've never talked about track before. I plan on maybe doing a few more track videos. We'll see. And thank you for watching, and I'll see all of you later.